It's your boy Jay Best and your boy Jared Best, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast, season 3, episode 24. On today's episode, I'll be discussing my $100 Amazon gift card giveaway. And following that, we'll look at the current playoff picture and then talk about our top 5 teams in the league right now. Then we'll discuss how the Atlanta Falcons just benched Kirk Cousins and are starting Michael Penix. And in this episode, we talk about the best game we saw in Week 15. All right, before we get started, as always, we thank God for waking us up this morning, allowing us to talk about sports, which is something that we love to do. And without him, we would not be here right now. Jared, you ready to go?
Ready.
All right. First and foremost, let's talk about this big announcement that I talked about last week on last week's episode. All right. We are doing a $100 Amazon gift card giveaway. All right. The rules is simple. Okay. All y'all have to do is get me up to 200 subscribers. That's pretty simple, right? 10 of y'all get 5 people subscribe. That's 50 people. All right, I'm already around 150, right below 150. So to give me the 200 subscribers, and then you have to comment in this video your Super Bowl pick. All right, so whoever you have winning the Super Bowl, comment in this video, and I will put you in a drawing. And then on December 24th, next week on Christmas Eve, I'll be doing the drawing and letting y'all know who wins the $100 Amazon gift card. Look, it's a season of giving, and I feel like giving, but y'all gotta give me up to 200 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and then also comment your Super Bowl picks are in the comment section. All right, Jerry, that seems fair, right? I ain't asking for much.
Very easy to me. I mean, you get somebody you know to subscribe, do your part, comment your Super Bowl winner, and you're eligible. So nothing too not asking for too much at all, you know. So let's make this happen, y'all.
At all, exactly. You get a $100 Amazon gift card from the Straight to the Point podcast. So, hey, like I said, season of giving. I'm trying to give, so go get that $100 Amazon gift card. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our first topic of the day, which is the current playoff picture. All right. Let's look at the AFC side first. The division leaders. Okay, we're looking at the Chiefs, the Bills, the Steelers, and the Texans. All of these teams have clinched their playoff berths. The Chiefs and the Bills have clinched the division. All right, but these seeds can still move around depending on who wins and who loses going through the rest of the season. All right, looking at the wild card section, we have the Ravens at 9-5, the Broncos at 9-5, and the Chargers at 8-6. All of these teams win this week. They're pretty much locked into the playoffs. But there's a couple of teams in the hunt that could take their spot. We're looking at the Colts at 6-8, the Dolphins at 6-8, and the Bengals at 6-8. These teams have to win out to even have a chance to creep into the playoffs. So, right, the AFC side is pretty set in stone, in my honest opinion. Jared, do you see anybody in the hunt on the AFC side that can creep into the playoffs?
Well, if we're being quite honest with you, I don't. Just because of the remaining schedules of the teams that are in the wild card currently right now. I mean, I know that the Chargers are a team that's sitting at 8-6, and they came off of a rough loss this past week to the Buccaneers, who is brutal. But they're gonna play the Broncos on Thursday, and so that could really shake things up. But then following that, they play the Patriots and the Raiders. So it's just like with the remaining schedules that these teams have in the wild card, I see them being able to get the 1 to 2 wins that they need to clinch the playoff berth and for that to be unlocked. So unfortunately, the Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals, better luck next year. So basically, this is honestly, in my opinion, this is how the seeding might end up. If I'm being quite frankly honest, you might have the Ravens at 5th seed, the Broncos at the 6th seed, and the Chargers at the 7th seed. I don't see too much changing going on between the seeding or the teams. So I think the AFC side is a lock for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think these teams are locked in. Seeding might change a little bit depending on how things fall, but 2 big matchups this week that would determine seeding. I'm talking about the Steelers and the Ravens. That's a huge matchup. Steelers win, they clinch their division. We're looking at the Broncos and the Chargers. These are 2 teams that you just want to win out, so you don't got to worry about no scenarios. If you win out, you're in. So it's 2 big matchups in the AFC this week. And the Texans play the Chiefs, but it doesn't really do anything to the Chiefs. The Chiefs do have to win out. They want to keep that #1 seed. But the Texans, they already clinched their division. So worst case scenario, they're going to stay where they are because they're not going nowhere because of the Colts. All they got to do is win 1 game and the Colts is out. All right, moving to the NFC side of things. This division, this conference, I'm sorry, is way more complex. It's way more interesting than the AFC side. All right, we're looking at the division leaders. You got the Lions, the Eagles, the Bucks, and the Rams. Right now, the Lions and the Eagles have clinched their playoff spots. All right, but the Lions have not clinched their division, and the Eagles have not clinched their division either, because the teams behind them are 2 to 3 games behind. All right, looking at the wild card spot, we got the Vikings at 12-2. Imagine being 12-2 and having to go on the road for your first playoff game. 12, you know what I'm saying? You 12-2 most of the time. You got your division basically locked up. You're in one of the top 4 seeds, but they're looking at a wild card spot because they're in the same division as the Lions. All right, next you got the Packers at 10-4, the Commanders at 9-5. Those are your wild card teams, but this is where it gets interesting because in the hunt, you got the Seahawks, the Falcons, the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Cowboys, and the Saints. 49ers, Cowboys, and Saints are all 6-8. The Falcons and the Cardinals, sorry, are 7-7, and the Seahawks are 8-6. The reason why these records matter is because the Commanders are 9-5. All right, the Packers are 10-4. The Rams are 8-6, and the Bucks are 8-6. They're like one game ahead in their own division. So, Jared, looking at this side of the bracket, it looks way more complex. Do you see anybody in the hunt creeping into the wild card or even taking a division spot?
Being quite frankly, being honest with you, I really don't. I can't say that I do, just because of the remaining schedule of the teams that are on the outside looking in, like the Seahawks. They play the Vikings this week. Um, that's going to be a loss, unfortunately. And that loss is really going to hurt their odds. Then they have to play the Bears. And the last week, they have to play the Rams. So let's just say they win these 2 games. They have to play the Rams. The Rams will be fighting to hold on that divisional spot. So that's going to be a loss for them. And then if you look at the Atlanta Falcons, they play the Giants this week, which, even though, QB concern might be with the new QB back there, you still play the Giants. So you should be able to get the win, whether it's pretty or ugly. It does not matter. Then you turn around and play the Commanders. So it's like it's just about the remaining schedule. The teams on the outside looking in. So I honestly do think that the that this side might be locked up as well. I honestly do. Yeah, the Commanders play the Eagles, but if the Seahawks don't win, then that won't change anything in that scenario. And then the Commanders can win out following that. So I do think that this side is going to be a lock. Now, what the seeding's looking like, I don't really know. I can't really tell you, to be quite honest with you. And I know that the Minnesota Vikings are hoping that the Lions can pick up another loss. But mind you, they also play the very last week. So if the Lions win these next 2 weeks and the Vikings win these next 2 weeks, they play the very last week, which could determine who gets to win the division. And then the Eagles, I'm pretty sure, would love for the Lions to drop another game because the Eagles and the Lions have the same record. Eagles, Lions, and Vikings have the same record. So do you think if the Vikings win out and the Eagles win out, do you think Philly's going to get the first seed or the Vikings? Which one?
It might be strength of victories, right? It's a whole list of implications that they got to go down and determine who would have the number 1 seed. And if I had to be honest with you, I think the Vikings would get it just because it would have beaten the Lions, you know what I'm saying, just to get that spot. And the Lions was the number 1 seed. So it comes down to strength of victory and things like that, point differential, all that. So I honestly think that if it did come down to that, I think the Vikings would take the number 1 spot. But once again, we're talking about these 12-2 teams, the Lions and the Vikings, and one more loss, and they basically will have a wild card spot. If they both win until the last game of the season, you're playing the last game of the season for a playoff spot or for a number 1 seed, sorry, home field advantage, right? You can't sit your starters. Most teams that are it would be 14-2. Most teams that are 14-2, they sitting their starters getting ready for the playoffs, right? To prevent injury. But now you got to play each other for home field advantage. Like that's tough to be in. Once you, like I said, you think you're at 14-2, got the number 1 seed locked up. You got your division locked up, but that's not the case for the Lions or the Vikings. And the Lions continue to rack up injuries, right? They keep getting hurt. So honestly,
Keep getting hurt.
yeah, I honestly think that the Lions are gonna. I think they're gonna drop to the wild card spot. To be honest with you, just because of the injuries, and that's crazy how in 3 weeks before the end of the season, you're the number 1 seed, and then at the end, you could be the 5th seed. Like that's crazy to me. So these injuries for the Lions are really gonna hurt them, and I think they're gonna drop to the wild card.
Hey, can we be looking at a Detroit Rams rematch?
We really could. In LA,
Detroit Rams rematch?
we really could. I think the Rams have a chance to get that third spot because with the Bucks and the Falcons, I think they both can drop another game.
But look at the Buccaneers remaining schedule.
Good.
Buccaneers remaining schedule, they have the Cowboys, the Panthers, and the Saints. Those should all be easy wins.
That's true.
And so
Should
they're
be.
gonna go ahead and lock up the division and lock up that third spot because they do have the head to head over the Rams due to win percentage in conference games. So due to their conference record, they have the head to head over the Rams. So
Yeah.
I think Tampa's gonna win out, which will put the Rams at the fourth spot. And then, like you said, if the Vikings take the division, Detroit's gonna fall down to that fifth spot. So
And they gotta play, and that's another thing too. You're going from a first round bye to playing arguably the most dangerous team in the playoffs in the Rams. Like that is.
and what makes them so dangerous is gonna hurt you because your defense
Mhm.
injuries to your defense has been so critical. They have injuries in the secondary, injuries to their front. You know, Aiden Hutchinson was a big injury early on, but they just have injuries that keep piling on. So I do think that it would be very unfortunate for them to go from clear cut number one seed to being a first round exit due to the injuries you have on your team. So I do think that. But what do you think about this? So I know that in these past, I know last year and this year, when we look at this playoff picture, the division leaders. This year's two of them. Last year was just one. But last year was just the NFC South. Now this year is the NFC South and NFC West. You have teams that are 8-6, and they're about to get a home playoff game. Do you think that? I mean, I think that the way it is fine. But I know that people have brought up that Wiseman like the NBA. Why don't we just throw out the, um, winning your division gets you a home game? If you win your division with the, I think last year the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were like barely over 500. So why are we rewarding a team for not having a good season? If we're being completely honest, the only reason that they're in the playoffs last year the was because of their division. I know last year that literally everybody was eliminated, but the teams in that division, because if they won the division, you automatically get in. I know this year it's a little different because they would have the advantage, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Rams both 8-6, as long with the Seattle Seahawks. So that would give one of them a spot. But other than that, I feel like if I'm a team, like if I'm Minnesota, let's say the Lions do win out. So now I have to go on the road for my first playoff game to play a team that's 8-6. That let's say they finished 11-6. I don't think that's fair. I honestly don't. I don't. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I hear you. That I feel like the NFC South has been the repetitive one where they have a low record and they still win their division. So because it's just one, like this year, the NFC West, but you also got to think about it. The Rams dealt with injuries all year, and
Rams, 49ers.
yes, boom. So to me, it should have been a two-man race with the Rams and the 49ers, and their record should be better than it is. But because of injuries, I think that's why their records are lower than what we expected. But for the NFC South, it's been the same thing for the past couple of years, right? The team barely, the only reason they got in is because they won their division. If we would have did overall records, they would have made the playoffs. So I see what you're saying from that perspective. But I think because it's only one division that it's happening to, I think it's not that big of a deal. But if it was a lot of divisions happening, or you know what I'm saying, if it was more spread across the line, then I would go that direction. But I like the fact that you have to win your division because your divisions, that's some of the hardest games, right? We see divisional matchups. We see upsets all the time. The Cleveland Browns beat the Steelers this year, right? Cleveland Browns also beat the Ravens this year. We know Cleveland is not a good team, right? We see the Bears taking the Lions and the Vikings the distance, right? They lost to the Vikings in overtime. They lost to the Lions on Thanksgiving, very close game, right? So these divisional matchups matter. And if you just say, you know what, it's overall records and divisional matchups wouldn't really matter as much. And honestly, with your argument, every game will matter more because you got to have the most wins to get in. So it can go both ways. I like the importance of divisional matchups because I think that creates rivalries, right? That traditional rivalry that we all love. But if we go your route, then you're right. Every game matters now. You have to win every single game as many games as you possibly can. So I think it can go either way with that one, but I like the traditional rivalry and divisional matchups determining who win the division, who get home for the advantage. I like that aspect. All right, but let's go ahead. Let's move on next to our top five teams right now. Right, Jared, I want you to give us your top five teams as of today.
Okay. As of today, so you want five going to one or one going to five?
5-1. So go bottom side.
5-1. Okay, this is very very difficult. There's a couple teams that I thought I want to put them in there. Do I not want to put them in there? So I will say right now, from the outside looking in, just because of this past week, I have the Steelers on the outside looking in. So if we did 1 to 10, the Steelers would be my sixth team. So at number five, I have the Minnesota Vikings. I do have the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, like we said, they are a team that is 12-2, and when you look their offense, I mean, if we're being honest, their offense is starting to find ways. I mean, we thought Sam Darnold was gonna, just have a Sam Darnold moment and fall off, but he hasn't. I mean, he's showing that he might be able to get them a playoff win. You have Justin Jefferson, arguably the best receiver in the league. I wouldn't say this year because of the crazy season Jamar Chase is having, but overall, outside of just this season, you have Justin Jefferson, who's arguably the best wide receiver in the league. I mean, in his first 5 seasons, he's accumulated 7,000 receiving yards. That is insane to me. And now you have young Jordan Addison, who is getting more looks because of the fact that Justin Jefferson is trying to be taken away by opposing teams with the double team and bracketing him. So, and then Aaron Jones is also finding some success on the ground game. So I do think that this Minnesota Vikings offense, paired up with their defense, makes them a very tough team. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. If I'm that 4th seed, if I'm the Bucks or the Rams, I'd be scared if the Lions win the division and I have to play them first round. So I do have the Vikings at 5. Number 4, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. So a lot of people are saying, "Oh, the Chiefs are struggling right now. They're lucky wins. They're like eventually the luck is gonna run out." I just don't think so. If we wanna label it as luck as to their success this season, I don't think it's gonna run out. I honestly don't. If we look at it, I mean, they're not playing great football, but they're winning games. I can't knock a team that's winning games. I just can't. They lost to the Bills earlier this year, which was, some might say, their only real test. I mean, yeah, they put the Ravens week 1, but they have Patrick Mahomes. And I know that coming around playoff time, having Patrick Mahomes, that's something that these other teams can't say that they have. Yes, you have Josh Allen, but if we're being completely honest,
So why are they number 4? If you're so high on Mahomes and you talk about everybody say that the luck gonna run out, you're saying the luck not gonna run out. Then why are they number 4?
because I think that these 3 teams that are ahead of them currently are better than them. Now, come playoff time, this list might change. But as of this is how it is right now. Okay. So as of right now, this is how it is. Like I said, you have Patrick Mahomes, who we know come playoff time, he's gonna turn it up. I honestly think that this team's coasting. I really do. I honestly believe this team's coasting because it's like in the past we've seen them dominate games. We've seen them go out here and put up 50 points on the board. We've seen them go out here and Mahomes have 400 plus passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. We haven't seen that this year. We haven't seen even a glimpse of that. I think that they are honestly coasting and just getting by, and it's been working so far. They're coasting, and they might be able to get the number 1 seed. You have a bye. Now you only have to win 2 home games to get to the Super Bowl. So I honestly do think that they're coasting, and I think that come playoff time, they're going to be very scary. So I have them at number 4. Number 3 is the Detroit Lions. They just suffered a loss to the Bills. And injuries, you look very shaky right now because of your injuries. Your defense is not looking good at all, but that is because of injuries. Aiden Hutchinson, that's the biggest one. He was your main player on defense. He was going to have a great season. Honestly, people said that he was going to be in the Defensive Player of the Year talks, but it's unfortunate he got hurt, and now you have a lot of other pieces getting hurt in the secondary, more on the front line. So it's like it's kind of hard to judge this team right now. But I do know that they have a great offense. They lost David Montgomery. He'd probably be out for the season, but you still have Jahmyr Gibbs. And now is the time that for somebody like you who says that you feel like Jameer deserves more touches and that he should be the number one back. Like they have a running back duo and they really split touches for the most part, but you feel like he should be the lead back. Well, here's your opportunity to be the lead back. Yeah, it's gonna hurt not having that power and that speed combination, but you still have Jameer Gibbs. So that on top of having Amon-Ra St. Brown, you have Jamison Williams, you have Sam Laporta. Jared Goff's playing the best football he's played in his life. So I do think that although this team has suffered a lot of injuries to their defense and has weakened their defense, they have such a nice offense that they might get into games where their offense can really, bail them out, so to say. Look at the Bills game. They lost, but they didn't get blown out. The game was very winnable the whole entire game, and there's a questionable call by Dan Campbell late in the game when he kicked the onside kick. So I just think that the Lions have a good enough offense to get by, and that's why I think that they are scary, and they are number 3 on my list. Number 2, I have the Buffalo Bills. Okay. I have the Buffalo Bills at number 2. Josh Allen is playing out of his mind right now. He's playing phenomenal. I think that after this past week, he's the clear-cut MVP. I don't want to hear about Lamar Jackson. I don't want to hear about Jared Goff. The only other person that I would even think about hearing a conversation on is Saquon Barkley. That's the only player. But Saquon didn't have that good of a week against the Steelers, if I'm being quite honest. He didn't have a Saquon-type game, and Josh Allen had a crazy great game. So I honestly think that Josh Allen is the league's MVP, and this is a team that, without so many weapons, Josh Allen is still finding ways to make this offense look very scary. I mean, honestly, like, look at his first 3 receivers on the roster. Yes, they have Amari Cooper, but he hasn't been such a, you haven't really heard his name a lot this year, if we're being completely honest. If I'm being completely honest, the name that I've heard a lot is, what's number 10's name? Slot receiver? What's his name? Khalil Shakir. That has looked like his premier target and something that he likes to go to. And I saw James Cook. He had a nice game against against the Lions this past week. So I think that with their offense, now I will say the reason why they're at number 2 is because their defense is a little shaky, in my opinion. Yeah, they played the Rams, and yeah, they played the Lions, but these are offenses that you're going to be seeing come playoff time. And their defense just hasn't proven to me that they are good enough to get the stops when it's necessary for their team to win. Looking at the points that the Lions put up and looking at the points that the Rams put up. So this is why I have the Bills at number 2, because of the strength of their offense, but the strength that they lack on the defensive side. And that brings me to my number 1, which after going through the list, everybody should know by now. But number 1, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I really do. I mean, they came out against the Steelers, and they put on a great showing. If I'm being completely honest. I mean, they proved that they still can go to the passing game when it's needed. The run game wasn't as effective as it has been in previous weeks, but they came out and they let Jalen Hurts throw the ball around a little bit. He found A.J. Brown. He found Devontae Smith at times. And so I think that their offense is not one side. It's not one-dimensional. They're not just a run-only offense. People forget that Jalen Hurts can throw the football. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, and if you think otherwise, you don't know football. I'm sorry. So what you have in Jalen Hurts back there, you have Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You have a great offensive line. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, it's kind of ridiculous, the offensive line they have. We saw their offensive line get hurt, and their replacements just fit right in. It doesn't make sense to me. The replacing tackle that came in when their tackle got hurt was bigger than Mekhi Becton. That don't make no John Brown sense because his big tail shouldn't even be playing guard. The fact that they were on the same side right next to each other doesn't make any sense to me. I think they're cheating, quite honestly. It doesn't make any sense why the offensive line is so powerful, and that is why they are so great. That is why they are number 1, along with their defense. Their defense has come along ever since that bye week. Their defense has come out, and their defense has played good football. I mean, they went out and they stopped the Ravens. They came out and they stopped the Steelers. Although we were missing our wide receiver 1, I will stand on that hill that if we had a wide receiver 1, the game would be different. But they came out, they got stops early, and they made plays when they needed to. Jalen Carter, he is playing grown man football right now. He's playing grown man football. I mean, he's always been good, but I feel like he's really starting to come into his own right now. Really starting to make that name for himself for being a star on that line. Their secondary is pretty nice, and I like their head coach. I think their head coach is one of the best head coaches in the league. I know he gets a lot of backfire and backlash. I don't see why. But I do think that the Eagles are the best team in football right now. So that is my top 5 teams right now.
All right, my top five teams look a little bit different. I think I'm just going to say it. Forget it. Number five, I got the Steelers. All right, I'm not gonna let this loss against a really good Eagles team bump us out of the top five. Okay, I'm looking at a team that lost their wide receiver one. If I took the wide receiver one, the number one option off of every offense in the league, their offense is gonna look different, except for maybe the Bills, because Josh Allen is just like that. Even with the Chiefs, if I took Travis Kelce out of their offense, the offense is going to look different. The offense like it's struggling with Travis Kelce. So without him, I know it'll look different. If I took Jamar Chase off the Bengals, that offense is going to struggle. If I took AJ Brown off the Eagles, that offense is going to struggle. So this goes for every team in the NFL. George Pickens was missing the Steelers struggle, but defensively they can still make plays. All we call is 2 turnovers back to back. I only got 3 points off of them, right? So because of the offense, because George Pickens, when George Pickens is there, we've seen his offense explode. We've seen Russell Wilson have a field day on teams with George Pickens in the lineup. So I'm not going to let injury take this team out of the top five. All right. Next we got the Rams. All right. I think not enough respect on the Rams. I think this Rams team could beat anybody head to head right now. Even if they ran it back against the Eagles, I would take the Rams over the Eagles. That's how explosive this offense is. And Sean McVay talked about how much you like Nick Sirianni. I love Sean McVay. I think he's arguably one of the best coaches in football right now, and especially offensive-minded coaches. So to me, him and Matthew Stafford, the second best head coach quarterback duo right behind Andy Reid and Mahomes. And honestly, they can make a Super Bowl run just because of their offense. The defense has to make one play. Make one play. Defense, special teams, make one play, and you're guaranteed to win. I promise. All right, so I trust Matthew Stafford. I trust Sean McVay moving forward. So that is my number 14. All right, number 3, I got the Chiefs. Like you said, they're struggling, but they're still winning. Like I hate it. I hate the fact that they're winning all these games by one possession, by a field goal. They doinked the field goal in the last time they won against the. I want to say it was help me out. Who is it?
Broncos or Chargers?
Chargers. The Chargers. Boom. They doinked it in against the Chargers. Then against the Broncos, they blocked the field goal. And
There you
then
go. That's what it is.
the Raiders, they fumbled like they're winning by these crazy ways at the end of games, but that's scary moving forward. That you just know at the end of the game, if it's tight, you're gonna get tight. You're gonna get tense. You're like, man, I cannot make a mistake because I know they're gonna win. So they have that advantage, that mental advantage over everybody else. Like you said, Patrick Mahomes ain't the sky's the limit. So they gotta be number 3. But these two teams ahead of them are just better than them. Period. The Bills. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in football right now. I get it. Mahomes is Mahomes. I got it. But Josh Allen is that guy. He is that dude. So for everyone that disrespected him coming to this year saying he not all that, he overrated this, that, another, apologize. Because he showed y'all that without Stephon Diggs, I'm still gonna do my thing. I'm still gonna ball out. We said going into this season that he has to be Superman in order for this team to contend, and he has been Superman in order for this team to contend, and he's definitely number one in the MVP race. I think that Saquon Barkley ship has sailed, especially after what Josh Allen did last week and in the week before against the Rams. All right, so I definitely got the Bills at number 2, and then number 1 is the Eagles. This is the best team in the league, hands down. And this is what we kind of thought going into the season with Saquon Barkley being added to this roster, because before you had these average to okay running backs behind a good old line. Well, now you got the elite running back behind a good old line, and this offense, they showed you that AJ Brown started complaining. The passing offense is like the best passing offense in the league, right? With AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert isn't even playing right now. So Jalen Hurts playing really well right now. The defense is solid. I think they are the best team in all of football. So those are my top 5 teams. Go ahead and tell me why you think the Rams shouldn't be in there. Cause I already know you're about to ask me why they're in there.
Their defense is such a big liability.
It is.
It's a huge liability, and I mean, we can say, like, look at their game last week against the 49ers. We can say, well, look at what their defense did that game. The 49ers offense isn't a playoff offense this year. It's just not. And now you can say that the conditions, the little bit of rain did affect the Rams offense, and the 49ers defense aren't scrubs. But what happens when you have a game like that where your offense is struggling? The offense is struggling to put up points. And now we're playing the Vikings, a team that we know is going to go out there and put up points. We're playing the Lions, a team that I even said their offense might be good enough to help them overcome some games and win some shootouts. So your offense can't struggle like this, and y'all have a bad defense and expect to really, make some noise. So I do that. That's my only problem with it is that their defense is such a big liability that all it takes is for the offense to have a bad quarter, and the game's over. So that's my problem with the top five right there.
So real quick, I'm gonna tell you why they're top five. I think the only two teams that I left out that you would argue should be in the top five is the Lions and the Vikings, right? I mean, yeah, Lions and Vikings, right?
Yes, correct.
Between the Lions, Vikings, and Rams, which head coach do you trust the most?
Sean McVay.
Between the Lions, Vikings, and Rams, which quarterback do you trust the most?
Matthew Stafford. I'll say Matthew Stafford.
With the Lions, like you said, injuries are racking up on the defensive side, which means Jared Goff has to be better than what he has been, which means he has to be able to win these shootouts, right? With Sam Darnold, I feel like he's just gonna fall off eventually. Like I'm not being fooled. I know we're at week 16. Y'all probably thinking, man, Jalen, you gotta let him live at this point because he's doing his thing. He is. Do not get it twisted. But I believe when the pressure gets high and the lights are the brightest in the playoffs, he's going to fold. I don't think that a person that has proved to us throughout their career they're not that good can just flip a switch in one season. I just don't see it happening. Geno Smith, so-called flip the switch. I still don't trust in him.
What
I
about
didn't.
Baker Mayfield? Baker
Baker
Mayfield flipped the
Mayfield.
switch. They went on to beat the Eagles, and they almost beat the Lions. They had a very close game with the Lions last year in the playoffs. So why can't Sam Darnold, knowing the weapons that he has, and his head coach, don't get me wrong, wasn't he a part of the Sean McVay coaching tree?
He came from Sean McVay.
He came from Sean McVay. So
Yeah.
you should have some trust in him to put his quarterback in a great situation, having Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, having Aaron Jones in that running game, having a defense that I can say out of those three teams, what team has the better defense right now?
The better defense because of injuries to the Lions. I would have to go with the Vikings.
Okay. Defense is crucial in the playoffs
Very cool.
because if your defense can make a couple of stops, that changes the game, especially when you have a good offense that can go and put up points. So I think that because of how much better the defensive side of the ball is for the Vikings than the Rams, I would take the Vikings over the Rams. I really like if they end up playing wild card round, I might have to pick the Vikings just because of how shaky and suspect that defense is for the Los Angeles Rams.
So you think so the ship has sailed on Sam Darnold just forward. The ship has sailed. Like you think he
The
is
ship hasn't sailed. It hasn't sailed, but
So with that, okay.
I think that it'll take a good defense for us to see it.
Okay.
The Rams aren't a good defense, so he won't get exposed that game. And if the Vikings defense can make a couple stops, which they can, it's over for the Rams. But like when he plays the Eagles, if we're being completely honest, that might be it. I mean, the Buccaneers defense is solid, but when he plays the Eagles, like if it's the Eagles, Vikings, NFC Championship, it's not even gonna be a close game. If we're being quite honest, just because of the fact that the Eagles defense is so good, and Sam Darnold will get exposed that game.
Just saying, we saw the Vikings and Rams play this year, and the Rams won 30-20. I understand it was a while ago, right? It's not necessarily recent, but we saw it happen.
That's fine.
The Rams won. So
It's hard to beat a team twice.
I
Hard to
hear
beat a
that.
team twice.
What you're saying is we're gonna have a bet if the Vikings end up being the fifth seed and the Rams end up being the fourth seed. That's what
Let me see. Let me see how the Vikings Lions game goes. Like, because obviously that would mean that they lose.
Yeah.
But let me see how the game goes, and we could potentially have a bet.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that. Let's move down to the ATL, all right, where things just got messy. Okay, the Atlanta Falcons, after signing Kirk Cousins to a big contract, big fully guaranteed contract, I might add. They decided to bench him after this 15-9 win versus the Raiders. In the 5 game stretch, Kirk Cousins has one touchdown and one touchdown and 9 interceptions in the last 5 games, and they are 1-4 over that stretch. Okay, so the Falcons basically said, you know what, enough is enough. We're gonna throw in our rookie quarterback, Michael Penix. Jared, what is your reaction to this news?
I'm let me just get this out the way. Okay, look, man, I was wrong. Okay, I was wrong. Okay, I was completely wrong. Okay, I was wrong with what I said in the beginning of the season. Okay, comparing the impact he had on the city at the time to Deion Sanders. I was wrong last week when I said that Kirk Cousins can turn this around and go and win out, and the Bucks, who I expected to lose to the Chargers, ended up winning, and the Falcons would have won out in my perfect scenario, and Kirk Cousins would have started balling again, and they would have made the playoffs. I was wrong. Okay, Kirk Cousins, you're a waste of money, man. I'm putting it simple as that. You're a waste of money, dude. Like, I'm out here getting looked at sideways and looked like I don't know what I'm talking about because I had faith in you. Because I thought that you were still a good quarterback. Now, is it the Achilles injury? I don't know. But I'm gonna just throw it out there. I'm gonna be honest with you. He was pretty mediocre in Minnesota. So I don't know why I even thought that him going somewhere where he doesn't have a Justin Jefferson, where he doesn't have a head coach and an offensive mind coming to the Falcons, I don't know why I thought he was going to be successful. I don't. Maybe it's because of the game that I saw against the Buccaneers. Maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, it's not – I don't know what the problem is, but that man robbed this franchise. And it's safe to say that this is one of the dumbest franchises I've seen. And so, but with all that being said, I feel about this 2 ways, okay? I think that benching Kirk Cousins was the right move if Michael Penix wasn't your backup. Because he's a rookie, because we haven't seen him out there, and not only him being a rookie, but the scenario you're in. You have to win out to have a chance. And we know that football can come down to just a matter of a play. End of the game, pressure situation, he makes the wrong decision, incomplete pass or turnover, now your season's gone. And now, I don't think people would blame it on Michael Penix, but they're kind of going to blame him a little bit. When you could have just let Kirk Cousins ride the season out, and when you don't make the playoffs, it is your fault. He's the scapegoat. It's your fault. You robbed us of the money. Now, I don't know what you're going to do in the offseason with that situation, but I feel like you should just let Kirk Cousins play it out. But there's also a part of me that says, I know the potential Michael Penix has. He's going to have to tap into that potential immediately. But in the bits and pieces that I've seen him this year, and I know it's preseason doesn't matter, but he looked calm. He looked experienced.
Like he did in college.
Exactly.
Yep.
And he played so much, and yet he had injuries, but he was able to get a feel for the game. He was able to learn a lot in college, not only on the field, but off the field when he was hurt. He's able to learn a lot. And so I would say that, like, coming to this year, I had Drake May, I had Bo Nix, and I had Michael Penix Jr. as the 3 most pro-ready quarterbacks off rip. Just because of Bo Nix's experience, because of Michael Penix Jr.'s his maturity level when it comes to football, and because of just Drake May's talent and what we saw in college. Yes, I have him over Caleb Williams. Yes, I do, because I think that what we're seeing a little bit is it's a bit of a rough transition for Caleb Williams. He's looking pretty good at moments. You know, you can look at the stats and say that I'm wrong, but if you really look at it, we're not seeing the same Caleb Williams we saw in college. It didn't immediately transfer. He's going to be good. He's going to have a good career, but he didn't immediately transfer. So Michael Penix Jr., I felt like, was one of the more pro-ready quarterbacks, and if he would have went to a team like the Raiders, he could have been, I'd say this, if he went to the Raiders, that franchise would be in a better position than they're in right now. because I do think that he is pro ready. So I think that he can go out here like against the Giants, he'll win. It might be a little sloppy, but he'll win against the Giants just because of and mind you, the Giants defense is kind of solid. I think that he has the talent to go out here and win. But the very next week he plays the Commanders. That might be the problem. And that might be where his lack of experience, NFL experience, might come out to haunt them, might come to haunt the franchise or organization. So I just think that it's just a big mess. It was a big mess from the beginning, and it's a big mess now. So the way it started is how it's ending for them this season, making dumb decisions in the beginning of the season, making some might say a dumb decision now. So it's just it's a bad situation. I don't know how they're going to be able to recover for this because Kirk Cousins, this wasn't a 1 year deal.
Nope.
This was not a 1 year deal. You pay this man big bucks for years for him to be your starting quarterback, and I don't think that he's talented enough to trade for from a team rather than a team just going and drafting their quarterback, their guy for the future. And now on top of that, nobody wants to take that salary cap hit. So you're this whole situation is messed up, and I wish the best of luck to Michael Penix Jr. Kirk Cousins, you let me down. I'm honestly honestly I am we was at a Christmas party this past weekend, and one of our family members that watches the show came up to me and was like, "Man, you like what are you talking about, man? We need to hop off this Kirk Cousins hype train immediately. He's not good." And I'm sitting there like, it's okay. Kirk gonna prove him wrong. Kirk gonna turn it around. And you did that against the Raiders. You barely beat the Las Vegas Raiders. So they started off the year 2-2, and now they're what 2-2 what are they 2-12?
The Raiders, yeah, they haven't won a game since.
Yeah. So they haven't won a game since week 4. So yeah, you let me down, Kirk Cousins, Michael Page Jr. I wish the best of luck to you. Falcons GM, you're an idiot. And yeah, man, that's how I feel about the whole quarterback situation down in ATL. That's how I feel.
Okay, so I've been waiting this whole episode to get to this topic because the Falcons are a team that I've been attacking since they drafted Bijan. Talked about it millions of times. I don't think that was a good pick. He's a good player, great player. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that was a good pick. This year, Michael Penix, I was high on him coming out of college. What he did at Washington, I was like, you know what? He's going to be that dude. They drafted him. I didn't like it because you could have gotten a better piece. First of all, something that you actually needed, especially after giving Kirk Cousins all this money. And now you're in a situation where I can't bench Kirk. I got to pay him. I can't start Michael Penix because Michael Penix is already old. I've been on their top since 2 years ago. Michael Penix, I believe in you. I think you're going to be a really good quarterback. You are definitely the future of this franchise. Not going to be for long because you're about 28 by the time you get to start. That's what I would think. I don't know what Atlanta's going to do. But Michael Penix, this is nothing against you. But this is the wrong move. Period. Point blank. First of all, I thought the Giants was the worst organization in all of football. Maybe even the Raiders was the worst organization. But the Falcons are giving them a run for their money. They are. Because what are you doing? You're going down a 3-game stretch where you have to win out. You have to win out. You have to hope the Bucks lose the game, and you have to win out. Why are we putting a rookie quarterback in that has not played a game yet, has not started in a game yet? We would agree that Bo Nix has been the best rookie quarterback this season, right? I mean, it'll be a toss-up between him and Jaden, but I would go Bo. Who would you go?
I would go Bo as well.
You would go Bo. Okay. Bo Nix, through his first 3 starts, threw 4 interceptions and 0 touchdowns. You know why? Because quarterbacks have to adjust to the NFL. This is not college. Quarterbacks need to adjust. And because they started Bo Nix from day 1, look at how he is now. With experience, he's good now. Michael Penix has none. He played in the preseason. That is a whole different ballgame. We saw Caleb Williams playing in the preseason. We thought he was about to come and light the league on fire, and what happened? Started playing regular season games, and it's a whole different ballgame. But his first game is a playoff game. Technically speaking, it's a playoff game. And I feel bad for him because he should not be put under that kind of pressure. Kirk Cousins put you in this position, and now you can put Michael Penix in to try and recover what was lost. No, that's not how this works. You gotta let Kirk ride it out. I don't care what nobody says. This is the wrong move. I understand Kirk is playing bad football, no doubt about it. What I say, over a 5-game stretch, one TD, 9 interceptions, that's unacceptable. But you have to keep him in because he's the vet. He over these next 3 games, you never know. He could flip the switch. You never know.
He can't. He can't. No, he can't. It's over. They're done. No,
But
he's
over
done.
these next 3 games, do you feel more comfortable with a vet that has been through implications like this because of the pressure, or would you rather put a new booty in there and Michael Penix, who has not played a snap of regular season football? Which one would you rather do if you was a head coach?
Kirk Cousins has been playing so cheeks. It's about the same at this point. It's about the same. I told you,
No.
Kirk Cousins. No, man, he's not the no. If I'm being completely honest, like I don't like the move, but I don't hate it. I really don't because at this point in your season, you feel like you need a spark. You honestly do. You feel like going down the stretch, and if you make the playoffs, you need a spark. You need something to jump boost off into the playoffs. You're not getting that with Kirk Cousins. With Kirk Cousins, you're getting sloppy football, sloppy wins over the past 3 weeks. Now you're going to the first round of the playoffs with no type of new energy, you're coming off of playing sloppy football. So what are you going to do round one? You're going to play sloppy football, and you're going to get slaughtered by whoever ends up getting the second seed. Imagine if they have to play the Eagles week one. Round one of the playoffs. Kirk Cousins is going to throw 5 interceptions. In that one game, he's going to throw 5 interceptions. Hopefully, Michael Penix Jr. can come in here and he can, give this team a spark. Give this team, a fresh breath of air, a new look. But like I said, I don't like the decision. I'm with you. You just have to let Kirk Cousins ride it out. But the fact that they made the decision, I'm not completely against it because of the fact that, like, you need a spark. And it can't get no worse than what Kirk Cousins is doing now. Like, if Michael Penix goes in there and plays terrible, it's a teaching moment. If he goes in there and plays great,
we don't got time for that. We don't got time for that. Look,
yes, you do. Your team is not good. Your defense has been terrible this year. Your defense has been bad. Okay, Bo Nix exposed this defense weeks ago. This defense has been terrible. You added Matthew Judon. You added we had Jesse Bates. I can't tell. This defense looks terrible. Okay, it's proven to y'all that y'all suck as an organization because you didn't go and get a pass rusher with the first round pick that you had. Your defense could be a lot better right now, helping out Kirk Cousins. But guess what? You have no good defense and you have a trash Kirk Cousins. So it all looks bad right now. Okay, they need some type of new life in that organization. And like I said, the only reason I don't like the decision is not more so because of the risk you're taking with Michael Penix because of the spot that you're in and the implications on the playoffs. The reason I don't like this is because let's say Michael Penix Jr. goes in here and you make the playoffs somehow. How can you possibly go back to Kirk Cousins next year? How? It almost seems impossible, right? But that contract says otherwise.
Yes. But who wants Kirk Cousins?
Nobody. No, I'm trying to tell you right now, nobody's gonna want Kirk Cousins. Everybody, mind you, majority of the league right now, they're okay with their quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Majority of the league right now, they think they either think they have their guy or they really have their guy. Like Dallas, they think they have their guy, so they're not gonna want Kirk Cousins.
Yes,
a team like the Raiders, a team like the Giants, a team like some might say the Dolphins, they're not a quarterback away, and even if they were, they would rather take a couple years to get that quarterback ready for them to be contenders than get Kirk Cousins because it's more of an upside. First of all, like I said, you have to take that big old contract. Unless they can restructure that contract somehow, no team is going to want to trade and pick up that type of cap hit. Nobody. So, look, man, like I said, that's the reason why I'm more so against it because of the future. What is the future going to look like? Like I said, if he goes and takes his team to the playoffs somehow and he's playing great football, there's no way you can look at me with a straight face and say, that was good and all, but Kirk Cousins, you're our starting quarterback next year. There's no way. But that's one thing. I know one thing about Kirk Cousins. That's the most expensive backup quarterback I've ever seen in my life. So they're cooked. Let's just see. I honestly think that this is them throwing in the towel, maybe.
No, that's dumb. Then you got to fire the coach and the GM. You can't throw in the towel. You're a game
And
up.
you fired anyways. They're not good.
No, that's the thing, though. I understand. I'm not defending this team. I'm not saying this team is good by any means. The best thing that you said is that if this was not Michael Penix, you would have liked the move. For example, if this was a Gardner Minshew,
Yes.
someone of that caliber, this move would make sense. It doesn't make sense because it's Michael Penix. I'm telling you right now, this team is not making the playoffs, and it's not. And I understand the team is not good, but it's because Michael Penix is about to go in there with all this pressure, and it's not going to look good. He's not finna go in there and save the day. I'm putting the house in on that. It's not going to happen. Your best bet was to stay with Kirk Cousins. I get it. The defense is bad. Kirk Cousins is bad, but you're 7-7 at this point. I believe it. Yeah, I believe it's 7-7. You have to ride it out. Like you can't. You cannot just throw in a Michael Penix. It's not gonna work. So this is just a bad decision all around. And you just told me that Kirk Cousins is so cheap. Well, nobody is bumped the contract. Nobody wants to trade for him because he's not good anymore. And to be honest with you, if you wanted a spark from Michael Penix, you should have been made this move. Don't wait till you're 3 games away from the playoffs and you have to win every single game to put in Michael Penix. It's not gonna work. It's just not. I'm guaranteeing you this is not gonna work. And I got it. I'm a Michael Penix fan. You're a Michael Penix fan. We want Michael Penix to succeed, but it's not going to happen like this. This is not the way to go about it. This is a bad organization. Period. And if it was me, if I was in charge, I'm keeping Kirk Cousins in because you don't want to hear this, and a lot of people don't want to hear this because it really doesn't. It doesn't sound right. But Kirk Cousins give you a better chance to win than Michael Penix. Period. I get it.
I told you, I think it might be the same.
I
To
don't.
be completely honest,
I
you,
don't.
you can't you can't throw this amount of turnover. You can't throw this amount of interceptions and give us a good chance to win. There's no way.
You're right. He's playing poor. I got that.
Poor is not the word that I would use.
A poor vet is better than a fresh rookie. I just told you, but it took Bo Nix 3 weeks to figure out how to play quarterback in the NFL. Michael Penix, you don't have 3 weeks. You have till Sunday to figure this out.
No, I give him a week. He has a week.
No, you don't.
Because this giant team is so awful. He can go in there and stink up the place, and they can still come away with a 1-point win. So he has a week.
The defense is so bad. You just talk about the defense being so bad.
The Giants have no offense whatsoever.
Hey, they gonna lose this weekend. How much on
The
that?
Falcons?
How much on that?
The Falcons gonna lose this weekend?
Falcons lose this weekend.
10 on it.
10 on. All right, 10 on.
10. Shake it. Come on, shake it to the screen.
10 on. 10 on.
There we go. Easy $10. That boy is betting on the Giants.
Yep.
He's putting his money on Brian Dable. You're bold. You're a bold guy. Hey, tell me this. Who's the starting quarterback for the Giants this week? Do you even know?
No, because what's
Do you even know?
Because got hurt.
You're betting on a team that doesn't know who their quarterback is.
Yep. Versus a team with a fresh rookie in week
16. Hey man, I like Michael Penix Jr. better than Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, Danny DeVito, whoever they put back there at quarterback this week. I like Michael Penix Jr. better.
To close this conversation, I'll go down move on. You just told me that this team is not good. It shouldn't make the playoffs. Well, the reason why you got Kirk Cousins is because we all believed that this team was a QB away. That's why they got rid of Desmond Ridder. They brought in Kirk Cousins. If Kirk Cousins just gets to the playoffs, mission accomplished. Mission is accomplished. You made the playoffs your first year here. That's what we brought you here to do. So keep them in there. And if he gets to the playoffs, cool. They're going to lose first round regardless. Because you just said
regardless.
They go into the playoffs. They might play this team. I'll play this team. I don't care who they play. They're going to lose. Like, I picked them to win this division because I thought Kirk Cousins would give you more than Desmond. And I didn't have them win a game in the playoffs. I thought they was going to be the 4th seed. They win the division. Whoever the 5th seed was going to slaughter them first round. So it's not about getting to the playoffs and winning games. It's about just getting there. If you get there, mission accomplished. Raheem Morris, your first year as a head coach, you got his team to the playoffs. Kirk Cousins, we brought you here to get us to the playoffs, and you get us to the playoffs. Mission accomplished. Nobody expecting a ring. I know that. I know Atlanta not expecting a ring. Atlanta shouldn't be expecting.
Fans are so delusional nowadays. I don't know. Maybe they did. But right before we move on. You know what's funny? You know what? Now I think about it, it really tickles my spirit. The fact that they basically did the same thing we did. You took out a poor young quarterback, signed a seasoned vet, right?
Hmm?
Their expectations before the season were greater than they did last year.
Yep.
Ours was worse than we did last year. And you see who has a playoff spot and who doesn't. The same.
Just saying, the Steelers hate is real. We've been knowing this since 2002 and since 2006. The Steelers hate is real. All right. Let's move on to our last topic of the day. The best thing that we saw in Week 15. Jake, you're up.
All right. So the best thing that I saw this week would have to be when where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I have to find his name. I don't want to butcher his name. I don't want to get it wrong. Nick Bonito, Denver Broncos. I don't know what the Colts were thinking. I don't know why they decided to run a trick play, a pass back to Anthony Richardson. I don't know why. The play looked so bad, but the man made the bad play look good. Okay, he came through like a heat-seeking missile, picked off the ball, and just took it straight to the house. Okay, those are the type of plays that you have to make going into the playoffs to give your team momentum. That was a great play by him, a great play recognition to realize and scout it out in perfect timing for it to be just as soon as you ran through, just catch the ball and keep running full speed. So, keep it short and sweet. Not a lot to say about that play. Great play, young man. I honestly do think that he might have a nice career in Denver. He might actually have a nice career in Denver. He's a part of a young and good defense. So that's also part of what makes this team scary. But nice play. So that's the best thing I saw in Week 15 was that man make a idiotic play by the Colts. Turned out great, at least for the Broncos.
Yeah, he also had a pick 6 against Jameis Winston, your guy.
Hey man, look here, dude. How many times are we gonna bring up one of my guys that's not performing? Okay,
Hey, you call him man
stop, man.
Jabba. That's your guy.
Stop.
But the best thing I
Off the
saw,
field.
huh?
Off the field, that's my guy. Off the field. I root for the man off the field. He's a great person. He's a great guy.
Okay, there's a lot of good guys in the league. If you're not good on the field, I could care less. All right, next, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna talk about the best thing I saw in Week 15, and I feel like I owe this. Not that I owe this, but I feel like somebody got to say something, right? You know what? It's the holiday season, right? It's all about love. It's all about joy and happiness, and just this giving to others. It's about giving, not receiving. I want to give flowers to somebody that nobody want to give it to when he plays good. When he plays bad, we're gonna hear about it. When he plays good, nobody want to say nothing. So, A-Rod, my gift to you is a shout out for the best thing that I saw in Week 15. Aaron Rodgers, well, it's not really Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. So Aaron Rodgers went 16 for 30, 289 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Aaron Rodgers was the leading rusher for the Jets team, 6 carries for 45 yards. And then his partner in crime, Robinson, his Batman, Devontae Adams had 9 catches, 198 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jerry, what's that word you like to use a lot? It's nostalgia, right? You like things that remind you of the past. Well, you know what I just saw? I just saw prime Aaron with Devontae Adams back in June. That's what I thought I saw, right? So I got to give a shout out when it's due because they be just dragging my man through the media. Oh, my God. They tear him up week in and week out. But when he plays like this, he played a good game last week against Miami too, but I didn't say nothing. Nobody say nothing. But when he plays games like this, I got to give a shout out. And this is my guy, right? He's about to be wow. Wow, the disrespect. He about to
Are
retire.
you done, man?
He about to retire soon. I'm enjoying it while I can. So Aaron Rodgers, my guy. Good job, man. On Week 15, your performance.
Are you done? Are you done?
I'm done now.
Are you done?
I'm done
After
now.
a season of cheeks, I can't stand by and allow this to happen. The best thing we saw in Week 15 has been players that actually I take that back. Jameis Winston was a part of my best thing I saw.
It was.
So was Kirk Cousins.
Hey, Kirk Cousins.
I take it back.
You call him Deion Sanders. You call him Deion
I take it
Sanders.
back. I take it back. But when they did it, it meant something. When they did it,
this means something.
yes. Oh yes, no, it doesn't. It means nothing. The team's eliminated. They could bench Aaron Rodgers right now. It would not matter. This team is done.
It means something to me because who's my favorite quarterback of all time?
Aaron
Actually,
Rodgers.
I take that back. I take that back. My favorite quarterback of all time is
You're
Cam
right,
Newton.
Cam Newton.
Who
Cam
is
Newton.
who do I think is the best quarterback of all time?
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, so when I see Aaron Rodgers play like the Aaron Rodgers I miss and love, then I gotta acknowledge it. I just got to.
You didn't have to acknowledge it up here. Okay, I've heard you acknowledge it enough around the house. You didn't have to acknowledge it up here. Okay, you just didn't have to
I
admit
don't think
nothing.
I talked
Yeah,
about it.
it was a meaningless game. Who did they play? Didn't they play the Jaguars?
They did.
They played the Jacksonville. They played Mac Jones. Mac Jones.
They
You need to
did.
sit up here and bring up this tomfoolery. Yeah, that's what it is. It's tomfoolery.
According to you, they're cheeks. So is the cheeks team playing the cheeks team? So really,
You're right. The cheek bowl.
really,
Okay, you're right here. You're glorifying Aaron Rodgers' performance in the cheek bowl. That's what you were doing. The
I'm
cheek bowl.
glorifying the fact
Cheeks
that
versus
I had
cheeks.
flashbacks. I had flashbacks to when he was in Green Bay with Montana.
You're right. You're right. I told you earlier. I saw something on Instagram, and it was a picture of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams in Green Bay Packers uniforms, and it said how Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are looking after the Jets are eliminated from playoff contention. Look here, man.
No, I should have
Look
did.
here, man.
No, I should have did.
What should you do?
For the best thing I saw on Week 15, I should have put Najee Harris dropping that pitch. That's what I should have did.
Oh, you're gonna go there?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna go there? Oh, you're gonna go there? Oh, really? Oh, you would throw a jab at your own team, at your own franchise. That's how much a relationship you have with Aaron Rodgers. That you would throw your own team under the bus.
That's your guy.
Your own team under the bus. Right, that is my guy. And what have I been telling you this whole season? What have I been saying this whole season? Trade him. Trade the man. How often have you seen this man fumble? First fumble of the season. And when he fumbles, we all jump down his back. Y'all don't like the Steelers franchise don't like the man anyways. Y'all think Jalen Warren should be RB number one, which I have no clue as to why we would do that. When Najee Harris is on the cusp of another 1,000-yard rushing season. No running back in Steelers history, as far as I'm concerned, and according to my knowledge, has rushed for 1,000 yards in their first 4 seasons. Every single year, hit 1,000 yards. But according to Steelers fans, that don't mean nothing no more. So guess what? Trade him. Just trade him. How about that? Trade him for a pick, and let's move on. Make Jalen Warren your starting running back. I guarantee you, if you trade him to a team with a good offensive line, guess what? Exactly. You're gonna jump down the man for one play. Get out of here with that mess. I can't believe that you would stoop so low to throw your own running back of your own franchise under the bus for Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. That just made me sick, man. I can't believe you. You lost some points right there. You lost some silly points right there. That's ridiculous. It's okay, Najee. It's okay. It's okay. Because whenever Najee Harris go crazy on Saturday, if we give him the ball like we should, I don't want you. You better not be saying nothing.
Hey,
I bet you look over there. You better not have a smirk, a grin, or nothing. You better not be waving your towel, jumping up and down. Nothing. You better sit there and complete silence.
Since we're talking about the Steelers right now, in the famous words of Mike Tomlin, we do not care.
You're right. We do not care about Aaron Rodgers.
We're going to go ahead. We're going to get up out of here. All right. For the Face to the Point podcast. Make sure, once again, that you get 200 subscribers for my YouTube channel, and also get your comment in the comment section and comment your favorite team to win the Super Bowl or your Super Bowl pick. All right. But that's it from your boy Jay Best and your boy Jared Best. Go win that money. We out.